In chapter number 20, unique method of teaching of Sai Baba. From the above incident, the reader will see that Baba's method was unique and varied. Though Baba never left Shirdi, he sent some to Machindragarh, some to Kolhapur or Sholapur for practicing sadhanas. To some he appeared in his usual form, to some he appeared in walking or dream states, day or night, and satisfied their desires. It is impossible to describe all the methods that Baba used in imparting instructions to his bhaktas. In this particular case, he sent Das Ganu to Ville-Parle, where he got his problem solved through the maid servant. To those who say that it was not necessary to send away Das Ganu and that Baba could have personally taught him, he said that Baba followed the right or best course, or how else could Das Ganu learn a great lesson that the poor maid servant and her sari were pervaded by the Lord. Now we close the chapter with another beautiful extract about this Upanishad, the ethics of the Isha. One of the main features of the Isha Upanishad is the ethical advice it offers, and it is interesting to note that the ethics of the Upanishad are definitely based upon the metaphysical position giving in it. The very opening words of the Upanishad tell us that the God pervades everything. As a corollary from this metaphysical position, the ethical advice it offers is that a man ought to enjoy whatever God bestows on him in the firm belief that he pervades everything, whatever is bestowed on him by God. Upanishads would be the canker of the soul. It is only when a spend his lifetime in doing actions in this manner that he can hope to attain the ideal of Naiskarmya. Finally, the text goes on to say that a man who sees all beings in the self and sees the self as existing in all beings, in fact, for whom all beings and everything that exists have become the self, how can such a man suffer infatuation? What ground would such a man have for grief? Loathfulness, infatuation, and grief verily proceed from our not being able to see the Atma in all things. But a man who realizes the oneness of all things, for whom everything has become the self, must ipso facto cease to be affected by the common foible of humanity.